has been a long, grueling season for the drivers of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. And now the season championship will be decided tonight. 4 drivers, the West family of father and son, Devin and Dan West. A driver that's looking to try to make history, winning not only in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs for the iRacing Cup Series, but to also win the Truck Series championship, Sean Brightsman, and the wild card, the underdog of Stephen Paulison. 4 drivers amongst another 20 plus ready to battle it out in the virtual Valley of the Sun at Phoenix Raceway. It's the championship night for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series as LSR TV presents the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200 miles, 200 laps, one champion decided tonight on Live Sim Racing, your home for sim racing, LSR TV. Good evening, I'm Wesley Outland. Joined alongside is Justin Prince in Canada. And Washington State's Greg Rentz will also be along for the ride. In the production chair is Charles Wooten. Now, Justin is normally the voice of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs for the Northwest iRacing Cup Series all season long. Justin, just like the Cup Series, Sean Brightsman has an opportunity to make history tonight in the trucks.
Yes, indeed, and what a season it's been for the trucks. 6 victories coming into tonight with 18 top 10s, 12 of which were top 5s. He's been quick throughout preparation for tonight as well, but you also don't have to forget about the key line. Dan West Jr. and Devin West have combined for 15 victories as a group this season. Those 2 drivers expect to be very quick tonight. And don't forget about Stephen Paulison, who's still looking for victory, yes, but his consistency helped get him here in what has been a competitive truck season, Wesley.
Greg Rentz is also in this cast. We'll bring him into the show now. And Greg, you have called a lot of the truck races with me this year. Definitely, just like Justin just reiterated on, we even thought that maybe Dan Lowther had punched his ticket in the Champion 4 at Texas. We weren't expecting Stephen Paulison to get in there, but right now everything resets. First driver across the line, whether victory or the best finishing position, will win the championship.
And it's been very, very close between these drivers, Wesley. Looking it over here on the points, the top 4, the championship 4 combined for 21 wins this season between Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, and Devin West. And then you've got Stephen Paulison, who has points raced his entire season to get himself into the championship. Only a couple podiums this season, I believe 2 finishes on the podium for Paulison this season, along with 9 top 5s and 17 top 10s to get himself into the championship 4 by just 1 point over Dan Lowther. Paulison, the underdog here tonight for sure, but a lot of drivers were pointing towards that 55 and 5 trucks tonight of the West family. What are they going to do around each other? Will they race each other clean like they've done all season long, or are they going to throw the fact that they're related out the window and go all out for the championship?
Justin, could we possibly see history again tonight with Sean Brightsman? He won Texas in the Northwest Cup Series to punch his ticket to Phoenix, and he won the championship. And he done the same thing, deja vu, in the trucks. He has one more chapter to this puzzle he has to solve. It's this evening at Phoenix.
I think he's got the pace to potentially do it. And keep in mind, a lot of these drivers who spent hundreds upon hundreds of laps preparing for tonight's action, making sure their trucks are in prime condition to be able to compete for not just the championship, but for the potential race victory as well. Brightsman's one of the quickest drivers here, to say the very least, Wesley. When looking towards practice times, top 6, right up there, Dan West Jr. and Devin West. I think he can do it. It's just a matter of how everything plays out, especially long run pace. It's going to be the key here, especially with the drivers expected to go up to 70 to 75 laps on the field tonight.
And in addition, the West family, father and son, Dan and Devin, fighting for the championship. Sean Brightsman, Stephen Paulison. You have another 20-plus trucks, top contenders, some rising stars in Northwest competition that will also big seat to look a checkered flag to close the end of the season for 2020-2021 in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. Let's take a look at the race 411. It is presented by Race on Texas. By the way, Race on Texas, become a subscriber to all of the upcoming racing action that they've got coming soon, whether it's karting, dirt, pavement, you name it. Race on Texas, a member of 52 Media LLC, has got you covered. RaceOnTexas.com. Practice has concluded. We are awaiting the drivers' meeting to conclude. That is going on right now. Briefly, 2-lap qualifying. Then it's 200 laps, 200 miles in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200. Let's take a look at the weather conditions here virtually at the Phoenix Raceway. On the iRacing Sim, thanks to sawblade.com, 75 degrees, wind speed at 3, track temp at 76, partly cloudy skies, and we're under the lights, Justin, and no change. It looks like track temp and ambient temp is going to be right there about the same. What is that going to mean to this tonight?
It means essentially that there's going to be that balance of speed and fall off. It's going to likely, as the race goes on, though, pick up a little bit, the track temp at least, as the rubber plants down per some of the recent changes in iRacing last month. That being said, the best teams tonight are the ones who are going to be able to keep up with the track, be able to make adjustments on the pit stops, to be able to adapt to the changing conditions and the amount of rubber around this circuit. It's going to be critical, to say the very least, Wesley, to make sure that you keep an eye on how things are going track-wise and where the rubber is built up to be able to maintain the tire temperatures and tire pressures in the right amounts to be able to make sure your tires don't fall off at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Greg, you want to add any more to that elaboration?
Well, the thing that we saw with the Cup Series when they had their championship race a couple of weeks ago as qualifying is underway is something that I don't necessarily expect to see tonight. We saw a plethora of cautions with the difficulty of that fixed setup on the Cup Series. We saw 25 cautions throughout the course of that 200-lap race.
23 cautions.
23 cautions on that one. I think it set the record for most in the season for the Cup Series. However, this is open setup, so drivers have more freedom with what they want to do with their trucks here tonight. As you watch Robert Gamble in the number 54, who's had some pretty solid runs in the trucks here this second half of the season, mind you. But to go back to what I was mentioning, the open setup, with the fact that these drivers have more freedom and they can get the trucks driving more the way they like it, I think we're going to see more of the green flag runs, which in turn is going to make the tire management a little bit more important than it was on Monday, because it felt like every 10 laps or so we were coming to get new tires. That's not going to be the case tonight. You're going to have to conserve those tires a little bit more tonight.
And this is a special night. Well, we got a 3-man broadcast crew with Justin Prince, Greg Rentz, Wesley Outland, Charles Wooten in the production chair for LSR TV coverage of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series Championship for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs. Robert Gamble right now will set the bar with a 27.692. Pay no attention to the 76 of Eric Cheney. He jumped the gun and qualified early. Big Bird always does that for the Truck and the Cup Series. But Justin, we're going to have to see who can put down the stellar lap, as right now we watch the SimStar entry of Chris White in the 83 Ford.
And keep in mind, we were talking about this before tonight as well, is there are several drivers who have potential speed to contend for the race win tonight. You have drivers like Cole Raz will have to keep an eye on tonight. Dan Lowther, he's been quick throughout the night as well. Drivers like Paulison, or I should rather say O'Hare or Annenbacher or Maine, several different drivers who can make some splashes throughout tonight. The thing is, though, it's how they race against these other competitors, and the track position going to be so critical for our drivers competing for the championship. As a result, Paulison second quickest, 2/10 though off of Chris White's time.
Stephen Paulison, one of those drivers that are fighting for the championship. You see the blue bars on the scoring ticker and on the scoring pylon. The ones that are in blue are the 4 drivers that are fighting for the championship of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series for Season 7. Stephen Paulison right now second quick. He'll flash across the start-finish line. Will he improve and bump Bill? 27.411 seconds. He will not. He's still second best. This Chris White is still the quick time. Dan West, here comes Dan West Jr. 11 wins on the season for him in the truck number 55. And Greg, he is one of those drivers that obviously you have to say he's the number one seed. He's been the star all year long for the Northwest Truck Series. He could be the guy to wrap up the championship tonight.
11 wins on the season for this number 55 Chevy Silverado of Dan West Jr. One of the most dominating seasons we've seen in Northwest Racing Series competition. But here's the thing, Wesley. Talking with our production team earlier in today and talking with series officials, the West family, West Jr. and his son Devin, have never won a Northwest Racing Series championship. They've got 2 shots at it tonight in both this number 55 truck and Devin's number 5 truck. Remember, Devin got in with that big win in New Hampshire in the longest race in iRacing history. From the drop of the initial green flag to the checkered, it was 3 weeks difference from that one. Then Devin came away with the big win to lock himself into this one. But Dan West Jr., 11 wins on the season. Lucky number 12, get him in victory lane. And he goes to the top of the board with a 27.109.
Put him to the top. Yes, sir. 27.109 seconds. Dan West Jr. looking to also not only lock up his 12th win of the season to close a cap on the year, but also his 7th pole in this year in season 7. Frank Harris, the Super Duty Ford, number 11, now dropping down to the bottom of the apron. His best lap time, just in 27.468 seconds. He's going to have to pick it up as right now he is mired in the back.
Yeah, he's going to need to be much more closer to the yellow line, especially for the pace. I know there's maybe the timidness from the Cup side, but that's where the grip is and the speed is getting as close as you can to the yellow line, as well as making sure you take it almost a bit more on the flatter side in 3 and 4. There's a specific art when it comes to taking these corners in the flat parts of the circuit where if you arc it too much, you either have someone dive underneath you in race trim or you burn up your right front tire. Right now, these drivers taking a little bit more space, it appears, towards that line. Devin West, though, able to stick it a little bit better, though, compared to some of the air trucks on that bottom for a 27.2.
Devin West in that truck number 5. He's the number 3 seed while all the drivers are reset for the championship 4. He has 4 wins on the year. No poles, though. Could he lock up the pole for the last race of the season? Right now, he is sitting in the 4th position, 27.313 seconds. Right now, your top 5 in qualifying at Phoenix. Dan West Jr., Chris White, and there goes Devin West going to the top of the board. 27.054 seconds. The West family now 1 and 2. Chris White. How about James Vining and Paulison? 3 drivers for the championship, Greg, right now in the top 5. And here comes Sean Brightsman.
The 4th championship driver on track. But here's the thing about qualifying, Wesley. We've seen it. Sean Brightsman, typically not a strong qualifier. He's been able to click off some poles here late in the season, but for the most part, we see Brightsman fall in right around the top 10. So if that trend continues, Devin West would be the highest starting playoff driver. It all depends on what Brightsman can do here off of turn number 4 for his first lap. Going to cross the line at a 27.208. We'll see where that puts him 3rd. Good effort so far. So right now, playoff drivers 1, 2, 3, and 6 with Paulison. Cole Raz just split that up. Brightsman needs to pick up a couple of tenths to try to knock Devin off that. Devin West watching very, very closely as Brightsman runs his lap to see if he's going to be the highest scored driver on the championship at the start, or if Brightsman can nip him. Checkered flag. Nope. It's going to be a little bit slower. Devin West, of the 4 playoff drivers, will be the highest ranking one at the start.
And right now, the 4 drivers in the championship are right now currently in the top 8. Here comes Casey Garber, the Jack Daniels entry, number 94. He's on course now. He's not up to speed yet, but he will get up there and try to put a lap down. By the way, understanding that as we watch the Chevrolet of Garber go around, Stephen O'Hare was a late arrival. He missed the driver's meeting. He possibly will suffer an EOL penalty at the beginning of this race. But anyhow, again, 200 miles this finale, as right now KC Garber on the bottom, and Justy will say that several times tonight, just like in the Cup race, the same thing for the trucks, and these drivers will take advantage of driving below the apron to try to get some kind of a bonsai slingshot on their competition as Garber crosses the line, 27.389 seconds. He'll set the bar now on his time first lap. He has another lap remaining. Right now, he's 8th.
Take a look at Jeff Stabnow right now. Talked a little bit with him where the team's approach for his side was much more different compared to some of the other races where they all worked in separate groupings to prepare for tonight with a similar base, but wanting specific handling for each characteristic of their trucks. For Jeff Stabnow, not the best of runs so far at 27.8 to start. For Casey Garber, though, with the help of Bart Hector Jr. up on the box, 3rd quickest right now to bump Brightsman down to 6th, Paulison down to 9th.
Yeah, that's an improvement for Garber as he was in 8th. As Stabnow clashes off the wall. Shared shower of sparks coming from truck number 24, the Waltz Beardco entry, and 27.813 for Jeff Stabnow. And that is going to keep him mired in the top 16. He's right now 16th on the board in qualifying. So not a good run, Greg, for Jeff Stabnow, who is just basically looking for a win to cap off what has been a crazy roller coaster year for Truck 24.
And for a while in the middle stages of the season, us here on the LSR TV side, we thought this championship was going to be a battle between Stabnow and West as they were rattling off win after win and alternating wins with each other. At one point, Stabnow led the series in wins. However, a bad first round forced him to lose on a tiebreaker to Corey Walters. Now, reminder for those who may have been wondering what the tiebreaker was, because they're like, wait a minute, Stabnow had 6 wins where Walters didn't win at all this season. How does Walters get the tiebreaker over Stabnow? The tiebreaker was the highest finishing position in the round. Jeff Stabnow finished 3rd at Watkins Glen. Corey Walters finished Charlotte, which was just good enough to tie him with Stabnow, and he had the tiebreaker with that 2nd place finish. If Corey Walters had not gotten 2nd place coming to the line in that drag race to the line that night, we very well could be talking about Jeff Stabnow being in the championship 4 tonight.
The West family on the front row. We'll take a quick break and we go racing for the championship at Phoenix. This is the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoff on LSR TV.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when it does. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Back here at Phoenix, the Valley of the Sun, the virtual iRacing Northwest Truck Series is ready to battle it out for the championship in what will be 200 laps, 200 miles, the final race of the season. And here is your ComServe Wireless starting lineup. Gentlemen, we'll try to go 8x8x8. Row number 1 finds Devin West in the 5, Dan West Jr. in 55. The West family fighting for the championship, and they're on the front row. Row number 2. We'll find Casey Garber in truck number 94. He'll start 3rd. And Dan Lowther in truck number 63, the Talladega winner. He'll fire off in the number 4 position. Row number 3 in this race, we'll find Cole Raz, one of those stars of the Southwest. He'll run the SLR Tour for real in 2021 to the 10. And to his outside, can he be the champion of the Cup in the Truck Series and make history? Sean Brightsman in the 46. He will start 6th. Row number 4, we'll find Chris White for SimStar in the 83. And James Vining, the Catman, the 333. Justin Prince, he'll start 8th.
In 9th position, it's Stephen Paulison tonight. He'll start deep in the field, the deepest of the playoff drivers this evening, while Joshua Beal will start on the outside of him to round up the top 10. Frank Harris starts at 11 tonight alongside Carl Burke, while Eric Cheney did receive an end of longest line penalty. He was in row 7 originally scheduled for tonight. He was originally set to line up against John Annenbacher and his 89 truck. Rounding up the top 16 starting positions, Robert Gambo and Jeff Stabno. After hitting the wall, his time would have put him in the top 10. Instead, Greg, he starts in the back half of the top 20.
Coming up in 17th will be the Fatback Motorsports entry of Bryce Clark, Ryan Main's final driver to take time. He was a playoff driver, was up in the mix for that final playoff spot as well. He was the final qualifying driver on 18th. Drivers on provisionals include Stephen O'Hare, who we mentioned missed the drivers meeting. He will receive an EOL alongside Corey Walters, their playoff driver. Keep your eyes on William Fletcher. He's had speed in the trucks here in the second half of the season from 21st position, along with Ray Fournier in 22nd. Drivers rounding out the field for this one are Scott Hutchinson in the 91, Tyler Kim in the 30, Toby Ritters, and Brock Denny is in the session. However, Denny did not make the grid for tonight's race. Looks like 25 drivers will take the green flag here tonight, guys.
Green flag is in the air. 4 drivers, 4 championship. The rest of the drivers looking for the final checkered flag, and we are underway here at Phoenix in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200. And quickly on the jump, we're seeing 3 wide racing all down below the apron in the early going, but it's the West family 1 and 2 with Dan West Jr. out in front as we almost got a tangle in the back. They'll hold it together. 1 lap in, Justin. West and West 1 and 2 for the championship and for the top 2 spots.
Good launch for them. The drivers involved in that tangle, though. Jeff Stabnow, Tyler Kim, Toby Ritter, significant damage to all their trunks, and they're going to be off the pace and looking for a caution flag early. But keep an eye on KC Garber, provide the pressure. You can see some of these trucks really hampered to where Garber, meanwhile, is not so much. Bit of a bobble, though, for Devin West. A little bit loose on the short run, it looks like, on the colder tires.
Back into turn number 1, it's going to be Dan West Jr. out in front. There you see Garber. He's right there behind Devin West in the 5. And Greg, again, Garber's one of those drivers that if everything can work out for him tonight, he's going to be an up-and-coming star on the Northwest iRacing program. But this could be the great opportunity for him to show his talents in the early going at Phoenix.
A lot of heads returned last Thursday night at Texas when Casey Garber was up there leading laps, running up front. However, problems with the 94 camp caused him to not be able to finish the race. Tonight on another very strong setup. Believe he and Dan Lowther working together on the setup once again here. Whoa, Toby Ritter sliding up between Cole Raz and Casey Garber. That could have been a disaster, but Ritter's able to get out of the way. But Cole Raz, his heart's probably pounding right now in that 10 truck.
Ritter's one of those trucks that make the bonsai move down below the apron and pulled up in front of the oncoming pack. And quick evasive driving, Justin, by everybody to get on the binders and not get any damage or even get in the wall from that craziness of the 23.
Yeah, that was absolutely scary. And Ritters, we mentioned, was one of the drivers involved in that lap 1 incident in turn 3 and 4. So he's hampered with significant damage and had to take tires trying to get some repairs done. Obviously, not going to be working too well, but everyone else, for the most part, I think is just trying to get into a rhythm, make sure they keep their tires underneath them and try and save them a little bit. I think the reason Cole Raz, for example, isn't using the dog leg is trying to make sure his truck doesn't bottom out and save that little extra bit of back grip, since for some, you can burn up the rear tires when taking the dog leg on the long run, Wesley.
Understanding it'll be around a 75-78 green flag run on fuel and tires for these drivers. Right now, we're working on lap number 7. 6 laps completed in distance so far. It's Dan West Jr., Devin West peeking down to the inside, trying to make a run on for the lead. Garber waits there in 3rd. Cole Raz, Dan Lowther, the top 5, Greg, as they work their way out 4.
You know, I'm watching the West family right now up front, Dan West Jr. and Devin West. Jeff Stabnow said the members of his team, which include those 2 trucks right there, West Family Racing, of course, a subcon team of Team LSR TV. But Stabnow said all 4 members of his team on very different setups. However, I wonder just how different these 2 up front are. We know Dan and Devin usually come with a very, very similar setup, if not the exact same setup. I'm wondering just how different these 2 setups up on these 2 trucks at the front really are.
We'll keep an eye on them. Again, we have 3 drivers out of part of Team LSR TV for the championship. Devin West in 5, Dan West Jr., the leader in 55, and Sean Brightsman currently in 6th in the 46. Stephen Paulus in the lone Luth with his team in the truck number 58. But right now, currently, as we approach 10 laps in this race, still a lot of racing left to go, Justin. The top drivers for the championship are right now in the top 7.
And one thing to keep an eye on, especially with these championship runners, in regards to setup, is how they're able to handle the balance in terms of how they built the balance of their truck for specific parts of the corner and how they're able to maintain the tires in the first 15-20 laps of this run to be able to be fast the rest of the run. If you burn up your tires early on, you're likely going backwards about lap 25, lap 30 or so in a run here at Phoenix. Right now, I've been noticing Devin West is much more tighter right now compared to Dan West Jr. in some of these runs, especially off turn 4. That could be something to keep an eye on as the run continues. If he chews up that right front, he can go backwards.
And we're also watching Casey Garber, the white and black 94, the silver number 10 of Cole Raz also have closed in on the leaders. Make this now a 4-truck breakaway. Sean Brightsman on the cusp of running those trucks down. Is there a single file? Back to turn 1, Greg.
I noticed something here with team communications there at the start of this race. Remember back to the Cup Series, it was Team LSR TV, Sean Brightsman versus Team Ramrod for the championship. Now, here's a little something interesting. Team Ramrod is represented by Dan Lowther and Eric Cheney actually starting the race tonight, but notice who else is down working with Team Ramrod tonight. Cole Raz has teamed up with Team Ramrod tonight to work together with them on this hunt for a win here tonight in the 200 lapper, as his usual teammates Caden Anderson and Brock Denny not in the field tonight. Raz working with Team Ramrod along with Lowther, Cheney, and guy making only his 2nd start of the season, I believe, Tyler Kim, making a rare start tonight in the truck series. So 4 trucks for Team Ramrod, but they are beginning to close in on some lap traffic up ahead as Ryan Main's off the pace. Dan West Jr. is about 2 laps away from catching the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, Brock Denny and Ray Fournier are not on the racetrack right now, so 4 trucks out of the 26 taking the green flag. We are working now lap 13 of 200 right now. Again, you see Harris at the bottom of the racetrack. That going on. There's the drivers of the pack leaders. Dan West Jr., Devin West. They're closing in on lap traffic. Ryan Main's in their midst, Justin, as they work their way out of turn number 2.
And Ryan Main's one of the drivers with some trouble running in this race, has struggled with grip, has already had to come in once for tires already in the first 10-15 laps of this race. Corey Walters also had some damage, had to come in. This is to where some of the drivers who struggled early are really seemingly struggling, just sticking on corner entry. Walters way too high on the apexes. Ryan Maines is struggling to turn his truck completely. And that's a scary situation if you're the lead trucks, because if they say get too tight and smack into the wall in front of you, that can cause calamity. You do not want to see that as a lead truck. If anything, I think they'd rather see these trucks run away at this point than try and have to pass them.
And Greg, we see Phoenix as being a very unique racetrack because it is just at over a mile. This track offers the word progressive banking, if you will, precision banking. We could see the opportunity of 2, 3, 4 wide racing. I believe right now we're just under that green flag run stretch to get things started.
And if you're going to see that 3 or 4 wide racing, you're going to see it in that dog leg. That's going to be where it happens. Primarily on restarts is where you're going to see a lot of that. With them spread out like they are right now, 18 laps into a run, I don't foresee that being too much of a thing. But on a restart, I think you're going to see it right here where the leaders are. This is where you're going to see them fan out 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide. To also follow up on another point real quick that you mentioned there with Phoenix being just over a mile in length. This is one of those tracks that's debated whether it's a short track or not. It kind of depends on what you consider a short track. For myself, I do consider this a short track, and a lot of guys in the field here also consider it a short track. So maybe you'll see those guys who race in the Northwest Tour, the super late models, first time here tonight. So we'll have to talk about that later as we have our first caution of the day.
After a long 18 lap run, the caution flag is out, and we're understanding with our production truck that it is Eric Cheney, the 76 Sunoco entry. Watch that blue truck there, and we'll see what happened. And this, Justin, puts us under caution for the first time this evening at Phoenix.
He struggled in this corner exit. Yes, indeed. He struggled in practice in that same section over and over, and that time, just as soon as he lost the back end, he just went sliding hard into that inside wall. And once you end up losing that back end without being able to save it properly, it's really difficult to try and avoid the wall, whether it's overcorrecting to the right or, in that case, sliding hard into the left side wall. But this is going to potentially trigger a lot of pit stops already, since we've already ran about 20 laps or so. We'll have to see.
I was going to say, here comes the cavalry on the lane. Dan West Jr., West, Sun, Garber, Brightsman, Raz, Lowther, Paulison, Bill, Vining. They're all coming down pit road, Greg, for pit stops in the top 20.
Entire field coming down. A couple drivers near the back staying out, mostly drivers who had already been lapped. Only Jeff Stabnow of the lead lap drivers to actually know he had just gone a lap down. So looks like the entire field from the lead lap coming down pit road here. We will see who slides in and who gets going quickly as our field going up. Right side tires going up on most of the drivers. Sean Brightsman in the 46 getting the left side tires. Everyone else rolling here. Left side tires going on. The top three are away, and looks like it's going to be the West family getting off first and second, but Brightsman able to get around Garber, who had a slow pit stop, guys. Garber lost 2 positions there to Brightsman and Cole Raz.
And Scott Hutchinson, truck number 91, he is one that did not pit in truck number 91, so he will be the new leader, but now he will down onto the pit lane. And Dan West Jr., Devin West, Sean Brightsman, Cole Raz, Casey Garber, Justin, your top 5 off the pits.
And good launches overall for them in the short run, and as well as starting to the middle run. I'm curious again how some of the drivers may have adjusted their respective sets to be able to try and counter some of the speed. It's been difficult to pass up at the front. There have been some battles here and there in the mid-pack, but everyone's just, it looks like they're near identical in pace, Wesley, so far. Keeping my eye on it as well, though, on Stephen Paulison, who is still in 7th spot in all of this, where he's been just quietly and calmly just running his marks at this point, just gained 2 spots on Vining and White after the pit stops.
Still a lot of racing left. We'll take a quick break from Phoenix Raceway. This is the Northwest iRacing Truck Series Championship on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Back here at Phoenix, lights are going to go off on the car. We will get ready for the restart. Still a lot of racing left to go. Wesley, Justin, Greg, your 3-man team for the championship finale of the West Main App Auto Parts playoffs in the Northwest iRacing Truck Series season number 7. 4 drivers currently fighting for a championship, and as we get ready for the first restart of the night, they are currently in the top 8. Dan West Jr., Devin West on the front row, Sean Brightsman, Cole Raz, Dan Lowther, Casey Garber, Stephen Paulison, Vining, Bill and White, ready to come back to the restart zone. Green back in the air. We're back to racing. Dan West Jr. with a great jump over Sun on the restart as they go into turn 1, Justin.
And another great launch from the West Family Racing Machines to be able to pull off and away. But Brightsman also had a solid launch on the bottom side to keep up with Dan West Jr. Wouldn't be surprised to see him try and save a little bit, try and defend Cole Raz with how aggressive Raz is at the moment, and try and keep it 1, 2, 3 for the playoff drivers. But Raz not backing down.
Now 3 drivers, the top 3, not anymore. Razzle battle on the outside lane. Brightsman back to the bottom of the racetrack. Garber is there. Lowther is there. All those drivers now fighting below the apron of the racetrack. And while that goes on, Greg, Dan West Jr. loves what he sees. He pulls away from the Hornet's Nest, even his son in 3.
About 3 truck lengths right now between Dan West Jr. and his son Devin. Then the side-by-side battle continues, but Raz with a big exit there off of turn number 4. He clears Brightsman going off into turn number 1. Casey Garber lurking back there in the 94, and then you got Dan Lowther there as well. Remember, last week at Texas, those two, Garber and Lowther, were on very similar setups, and have to assume they were working together again here this weekend in Phoenix. But Lowther's also got Cole Raz in there with him as well, working together with him this weekend. So a lot of note sharing going on between those guys not in the championship hunt, but just going out and trying to get a win here to finish off the season. As Cole Raz going to the inside of Devin West for second. He's going to clear him down to that dog leg.
Trying to close in there and pull him off there down into 3. He'll make that pass just barely. It's now Sean Brightsman trying to get some moves on Devin West for that position in the top 5. And while that goes on, his father is pulling away. It's Dan West Jr., Cole Raz, Dan West the top, Devin West the top 3. Brightsman is there. Paulison now currently 7th, trying to get around Lowther, Justin, as they go into 3.
And not liking what I'm seeing with the handling for Devin West. Whatever he may have adjusted, he might have swung the opposite direction, because he's even tighter, it seems now, to the point where it's almost so tight he's getting loose. And that, where he's trying to turn the wheel so much, it just cranks it around, makes it a little bit too more squirrely on the corner exits, bobbles those rear tires around, and overall it ends up being a mess on the tires, and that just seems to be completely demolishing the speed we've seen in the first run of the race for the 5 truck.
That 4-truck battle works its way behind the top 2 of West and Raz. That's West and West, Sean Brightsman, Garber, and Lowther, all in that mix. Paulison licking his chops, ready to pounce and run these guys down, as we're about to put 30 laps on the board. 170 laps to go. Still a long way to go, Greg, in this event here at Phoenix, as I believe we're now underway in our second long green flag cycle.
All 4 playoff drivers in the top 10 right now. 3 in the top 5 with West Jr. leading. Devin West and Sean Brightsman battling for 3rd right now, with Garber lurking there as well. Dan Lowther in the catbird seat. Then Stephen Paulison back in 7th. So all 4 playoff drivers running very solid. Paulison up 2 positions from his 9th starting spot. So slowly beginning to make his way up there. You have to imagine Paulison got a lot of practice in knowing that he was the underdog in his number 58 Jim Beam Toyota here tonight. You're on board with the 5 of Devin West, looking out at Sean Brightsman, the battle for 3rd, breaking down as West now beginning to open it up just a little bit over Brightsman, as Garber puts pressure on, looking to the inside, wondering if that 5 truck may be beginning to stabilize after what we saw on the start of that run.
Justin, for the championship alley for the iRacing Cup Series of the Northwest, we had 23 caution flags for the Cup cars here at Phoenix. Why do you think the truck race will be different, and why are we seeing that so far in the early going?
Well, it's first of all, we've seen in what Greg had said, open setups allows the drivers the opportunity to balance and tailor their setup to their personal driving styles. Whereas the fixed setup is you have to tailor your driving style to the setup. So that's one of the main things as well. On the top of that is we were having that race, very hot racetrack, under the daytime skies to start things off. So very minimal grip compared to tonight, where with the trucks, they drive differently. They have a much cooler track temperature for tonight under the lights, as well a bit more downforce with a bigger spoiler. So it's different in that they drive differently. You also have the ability to adjust the truck to your personal preferences, and the fact that there's a lot more grip all factors in for what we're seeing so far with these longer runs tonight.
Watching them slip and slide and work way off of turn 4 back to the front straightaway is again still Dan West Jr. having a lead that is almost over a second back to Cole Raz. There you see that silver number 10 trying to close in on the 55. There he is. And then you've got Devin West, Garber, Brightsman right there fighting with each other for the top 5. Dan Lowther in that mix to make it 6 trucks now for that position. Greg off turn 4. Devin West slips a little bit, opens the door for Garber on the inside. Can't do anything there. They'll go single file back to 1.
And Garber is looking for redemption after what happened last week at Texas. Was up in a very similar position to this, running up in the top 5 with much of the same cast of characters that's up here right now. The West family, Cole Raz, Sean Brightsman, they're all right there with Garber, and then connection issues dropping him out of the race a little bit before the halfway point. But man, oh man, Garber, he was very strong last week at Texas. Again, looking very strong here tonight. Really seems to like these trucks here, especially in the second half of the season. I'm thinking next year, with a shot at the full season, Garber might be a guy you got to pay a lot of attention to.
And as that goes on, now we see Frank Harris and Jeff Stab now a little racing in the back of the pack. This is inside the top 15, actually, for 13th, 14th position. Trying to close in on Vining in the 333, as well as Carl Burke. Chris White, all in this mix. White's under attack for that spot as they come across the line and get ready to put another lap on the board. Stab now goes to the inside of White for that spot in 1.
Yeah, and Chris White really struggling, it seems, right now at the moment. Just continues to just lose the bottom line for 1 and 2. If not pass on the high side in 3 and 4, as we've seen so far tonight. But when you go higher and higher up in the banking here on iRacing here at Phoenix, in 1 and 2, that's where drivers just continue to go backwards, and you just risk just killing the right front tire as well. Just Chris White just looks like he's massively struggling under braking.
And we watch them as they go back into that corner with Garber and Brightsman. And Greg, the question is, bud, when do these drivers that are fighting for the championship go? We know it's go time for Dan West Jr. because obviously he's out in front right now. But when does Sun West and Sean Brightsman and Stephen Paulison begin to make their rally to try to get up in the front and make this a 4-truck battle for the championship?
I would say it depends on where they are at the racetrack at what particular point. If you're like Paulison right now, who's in 7th, you're going to want to start getting going probably a little bit past halfway. I'd say lap 110 or so. If you're Sean Brightsman, who's currently sitting in 5th, you can wait a little bit longer to make your move, especially with you leaning right there on Garber in case of a slip up. Devin West and Dan West Jr. right now, they can wait till probably the final third or the final quarter of the race around lap 150, as you see Devin putting pressure on Cole Raz right now for second. Looks like the 5 truck has definitely got it back to where Devin liked it, so looks like West's going to be strong on the long runs. He gets to the inside of Raz, but I think for Paulison, he's going to have to go quicker than, say, the West family and Brightsman. It's all going to depend on where they are at the racetrack and at what point are they, as Brightsman's also going to gain a position on Garber.
Less than 10 laps away from a quarter of this race being through in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200. Closing in on lap number 50. There goes Devin West on the inside. Tried to make a run on Raz for second. Couldn't get him in P2. He'll try to get off 2 in turn 2, Justin.
Making it nice and easy. There's a truck stopped in the middle of the racetrack. Caution is out. He was back to the traffic.
That's Fatback 93 of Clark. Bryce Clark stalls, a heavy cloud of smoke, so there's got to be a virtual engine failure on his machine. And Justin, you saw that break loose right in front of you, and we see the replay.
He had something happen technical wise in practice where he drove into the wall straight on forward for a full pit lane inside the said lane. I think he broke a tire rod or something. He hit so hard into turn 1 and 2, and that just led to him having no control whatsoever. On top of that technical issue that may have happened in practice, he had no control of his truck for a good half a track.
And Greg rants a great of driving by everybody, especially Cole Raz, to miss that spinning truck of Clark.
And that was fantastic driving by Cole Raz to get by there and keep his truck clean. Everybody's breath everybody's heart skipped a beat as they all come down pit road because all 4 playoff drivers had to take evasive action on that one. Great driving by everybody to get through that as they're on pit road for the second time here. Dan West Jr.'s led just about every lap thus far, but here we go, pit stops again. What does Devin West do? Does he go back to what he qualified on, or does he stick with it? Here we go, pit stops underway.
He'll pit up in front of his father in stall number 1, Devin West in 5. You see the 55 of Dan West Jr., Casey Garber, Dan Lowther, the Menards, 63. Justin, 4 tires and fuel. What are you thinking for everybody in this early running as we approach lap 50?
I mean, that's what I prefer with this track, but here's the thing. Somebody decided, you know what, I'm taking 2 tires, and it was someone I noticed who was using the very inside safer barrier in the dog leg, Joshua Beal. He's taken 2 to come out first. He's taken the gamble here of getting track position and hoping that there's an error 20-ish or so lap run, or at least the tires equalize. He doesn't get that 20 lap-ish run like we've seen for the past 2 runs. It might not work out for him, however.
And truck number 112 up 9 positions in this most recent caution flag and round of pit stops. And he will now be the leader in the 112. Dan West Jr. now to 2nd. Devin West, his son, to 3rd. Cole Raz, Casey Garber, the top 5. Lowther, Paulison, Vining, Breitzman, Audenbacher, the top 10. And Steele Greg. Again, all the drivers running for the championship after this caution still within the top 10, the 4 drivers fighting for the title tonight.
Paulison lost 1 spot on pit road with that gamble by Beal, so he's going to restart up front is the 112. All the other playoff drivers still pretty much right there in the mix. Look who else stayed out on this one. No, he came down this time. Scott Hutchinson stayed out to get some track position, but he's back out on the racetrack now after coming down pit road. So Paulison's going to move back into the 7th spot. So Beal's going to lead him to green. Then you got the playoff drivers of West and West. And then Sean Breitzman, he was the big loser on pit road. He has fallen back. He's going to be 9th on this restart. He is now the tail end of the playoff competitors because Paulison was able to get past him on pit road there.
Lights will go off on the pace car this time by. They will cycle them up and go door to door, side by side. And we will get ready for the restart as again, Joshua Beal will have the first opportunity now tonight as we approach a quarter of the way in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200 finale for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series at Phoenix Raceway on LSR TV. Ready for the restart. By the way, a whole bunch of great content coming from Live Sim Racing, LSR TV, LiveSimRacingTV.com for all the information at LSR TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The SMB Cup Series playoffs starts on Wednesday. You also have the NASRA Midgets. You have the Cash Money Series. And probably after about a 5-week hiatus, the return of Season 8 for the trucks and the Cup cars of the Northwest Tour coming back after a nice little break. A crazy restart there. Taking advantage of that was Joshua Beal, Greg. He'll pull out Justin to the lead into turn number 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway and a gaggle of traffic. 3 wide going into 3.
I think Beal actually caught everybody off guard. He went the second the pace car moved, and that caused Dan West Jr. to get a hit into the back end by Cole Raz. And
we
now
got more trouble. It's a playoff driver. It's a playoff driver, guys. Paulison
tore up. Paulison involved. Clark's involved. The 91 of Hutchinson's involved. Maines is involved. Scattered, smothered, and covered. Chris White also. We've got a big one on the front straightaway here at Phoenix, gentlemen.
And James Vining broke loose off of turn number 4, and this is what started. Sorry, Justin, but watch Vining in that black and red 333 right there, breaks loose, tries to fight and save it, no. And Paulison gets collected. One truck up on his side. That was Hutchinson in the 91. And notice as Paulison gets collected, Sean Breitzman just barely squeaked through that. We almost saw half of our playoff field collected right there.
What a tough break. Let's ride on board with Stephen Paulison, the man that was running for the championship. And it could be the end of the line for him. We're on board with another driver right now, actually. Watch this. This is Paulison.
Nowhere to go. just when you have it all react quickly, especially with someone snapping around just nowhere to go. And here's the thing when it comes to this track. You have an instant down the front stretch. It's like a funnel effect with the tightness of the lanes there. As soon as somebody hits that inside wall, there's the chance they ricochet out in the traffic, and that's exactly what happened for a majority of the field.
What a tough break for Paulison. Now, gentlemen, we do know he does have the fast repair. Obviously, he's going to take advantage of that right now in 58.
Yep.
Makes tag on pit road. Sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
Was going to say, absolutely, and it's going to be intriguing now how this now plays out for some of these trucks, because if there's an error incident, keep in mind, especially for Paulison, this is the big thing. He gets in any more trouble, that takes one driver out of contention here. So that's the there's the bright side, but also the dark side of fast repairs. It also doesn't help when you overrun your pit box with a blown motor.
We're going to try to go on board here and see if we can grab an interview while he's in the pit lane and grab a word with Stephen Paulison. Stephen, what's your take of what happened, bud? I know you're using a fast repair early in this opening 50 laps. What's your take of the accident, and what's it going to take to get that championship here?
Well, I think, I need to use some strategy. So if getting the fast repair early is good strategy, that would be great. But I don't think that's the best strategy. We'll see.
What's your take of what happened with this accident? Honestly, it's not your fault. It broke loose in front of you and you had nowhere to go.
Yeah, James got a tiny bit loose and touched me maybe in the door, and I think that that pushed him back up towards the wall, and then he got loose again and came down. Yeah, I saw it all. I couldn't go anywhere. There was nowhere for me to go.
All right, that's the thoughts of Stephen Paulison, gentlemen. We'll let him get back part of the Da Vinci Racing stables and try to continue along and fight for an opportunity to continue this race and hopefully, Justin, try to go for a championship. Still a lot of racing left to go here at Phoenix.
And there's still a lot of time, absolutely, but there's also the fact that because he's been involved in that trouble now, he can't take as many risks as some of the other competitors who still have a fast repair available. And here's something. They have ruled that there is the jump restart. Joshua Beal, end of longest line penalty.
They're saying Josh Beal jumped the original start there when we came back from the restart, and they're putting him to the tail end of the field. Greg, good call or not?
And it was so close, though, Wesley. I think it's a good call because we've seen that before with the series. They are trying to keep the restarts relegated to that restart zone, and we saw Josh go early there. I have to agree with that call. I'm going to be honest.
Justin, and we also, and you even mentioned we saw the 55 of Dan West Jr. spin the tires. Do you think that kind of calls Bill to jump the pack on the green?
I believe so. I believe so with how quickly the reaction was, and Cole Raz quickly got on the gas. I think that all bunched up, and I think, too, here's the thing. You pass the pace car before it goes into the pit lane, you get a penalty in iRacing. That also adds to that, and too, so that's why he's having to come down to the pit lane. So Beal, big penalty as a result of that jump. Keep in mind, Cole Raz, his front nose is demolished on his truck right now.
Pace car is in, Bill is in, and we got a truck in the wall with Harris. He'll hold it together, he'll drop back inside the top 10. Another one getting loose, breaking loose. Looked like Garber had problems in 94. He'll stay to the inside of the racetrack. While that goes on, they're getting a little furious there off of turn number 2. Here comes Raz on the inside, looking below the apron to the lead on Dan West Jr. Greg in 3.
I'm so impressed with what Cole Raz is able to do with that damage on the nose of the 10 truck. And like Justin said, that thing is crumpled in quite significantly on the number 10. And with him being able to go like this is very impressive. But Justin, here's my question to you. What kind of engine damage do you think Cole Raz has? How long do you think he can go with it before we might have to start worrying about backing it down?
It's less about the engine damage right now. I think he avoided that part. It's more so the temps, because here, especially with how quick some of these drivers are into the corner, he might be reaching high on the oil temps. Also, you have to keep an eye on the oil and water pressure. So For Cole Raz, who did not elect to come down and pit or cut off tape or use a fast repair, he might be in a spot where if he is blinking red on the gauges, he might have to think about that in the future for stops. Keep in mind as well, several drivers elected to top off, like Brightsman, like Fletcher, like Garber, who are still having to work their way through the traffic.
And another thing, like virtual or reality, like you said, Justin, if you are a truck or car and you are overheating, you're checking those gauges and they're going red and they're on the, overheating mark, you're going to have to get away from the cars that are around you, the trucks that are around you, because the more you're in a pack, it more causes your vehicle to overheat. If not, you have risk of blowing the engine.
Exactly. And you can clutch and coast, but there's also the risk of water.
And that's what Raz is doing. He got out in clean air. The best thing he could have done is what he's done right now, Greg. Get out in clean air.
Set that pass up for the last 2 laps, and he got it finally, coming off of turn number 4 the last time by, getting the lead, but Dan West Jr. not willing to let it go away just yet. He's trying to reel back in Cole Raz. Devin West lurking back there. Dan Lowther up to 4th. Lowther, remember, missed the playoff cutoff by just 1 point, and here he is up in the top 5, having a great run in that Menards Ford, trying to end the season on his first truck win of the season. Won the Cup race at Talladega, but has not won a truck race yet. Can he get it done tonight?
Understanding Jeff Stabdow, truck number 24, the dismal roller coaster ride season is done for the driver from Montana. We will try to grab a word with him the next caution flag we get. Raz leads, West leads in 2nd, Devin West 3rd. Those are your fast 2 right now, fighting for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Truck Championship. Then you got Lowther 4th, Garber in 5th, Brightsman is in 6th. Paulison outside the top 10, the other driver for the championship. He's currently Justin in 11th. Still a lot of time as we're still 40 laps to halfway.
Yeah, and I think for him, just the main focus for Paulison in particular is just take it nice and calm. You have lots of time to get up towards the front. Still more than half the race to go. You still have several pit stops left to go to make it to the end on gas. Just play the strategy card and just pick off drivers one by one. No need to just go full bent out on getting every single position at once, because you'll destroy your tires on that. It's one of the longest runs of the race so far, Wesley, at the moment. So at this point for Paulison, I think he's doing the right thing. Just keeping it calm. Up at the front, though, Dan West Jr. just took back the lead.
And Paulison just got to the top 10 as he got around Corey Walters, the 9, Frank Harrison, the 11, and a 3-truck battle for the lead. And West Jr. to the inside. He'll carry his son as a wingman with them on the bottom of the racetrack. And they're trying to go for a 2-for-1 special as Raz goes from the lead to 3rd. He will not back down, though, Greg. Slithers and sneaks his way in front of Devin West. He'll stay in P2 off turn 2.
We've seen how strong that 55 truck is on the long run, Wesley. So, with that said, Cole Raz, you got to wonder about those temperatures that Justin alluded to earlier. Got out, led some laps. However, he seems to be backing it down. He's fallen into 2nd right now, but now Devin taking a peek on the inside. Is that temperature beginning to rise in the 10 truck?
Got to keep an eye on that as we talk out. And if he's having that issue that you were referring to, Justin, this is not a precarious position he needs to be. This is a bad predicament, to be honest with you. And he is losing ground from everybody now. He has literally, by almost a second, or as people are just passing him like a sitting duck on the outside lane, as here comes Garber and more to go by.
Devin West, though, not giving up on the bottom side. Still can't get fully clear with the defensive line in 3 and 4. Raz, the thing is, he's also got the aero damage that's going to really affect him down some of the straightaways. And that's where some of these drivers are outpacing him. He's just trying to push it hard, though, in the corners to try and counter that. And I believe he might have to start clutching coasting here a little bit to just cool it down in the corner apex.
And while this goes on, this 3-truck battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, this has now allowed Lowther, Brightsman, Burke to reel them in and increase the opportunity. Look at that, giving him a little shove there. Lowther, Garber, all in this mix as they go to the back straightaway.
On board with Garber in the 94, who's now taking a peek to the bottom of Cole Raz. Through turns 3 and 4, Garber trying to get up into that third spot. And what this has done is this has allowed Lowther to close in, yes, but look at the 5 of Devin West not breaking away from Garber and Raz just yet as they continue their battle. Now Garber's able to get a big run through the dog leg as they continue the battle. That's going to allow West to pull away just a little bit, but now Garber's cleared Cole Raz and is going back to work here to try to reel in Devin West. But up front, it's Dan West Jr., but he's got lap traffic ahead of him in Josh Beal.
And Justin, not only that, here comes Sean Brightsman on the inside of Lowther as they go back into turn number 1.
And I think Dan Lowther just letting him on go again. Doesn't want to be an impact or a factor rather for the playoff fighters. At the moment, he's done this a couple times, but the interesting thing is going to be how the long run pace again kicks in for Brightsman. Running 28 threes right now. The West Family Racing trucks are running 28 ones and twos. So right now, Brightsman needs to hope that they fall off a little bit more, or he somehow finds himself to where he can gain that extra 10th or so during the run as lap traffic ahead.
Back across the line in the 2. Down through that dog leg there. And by the way, this is the old Phoenix. The new Phoenix has everything completely reversed. The real track is now in the middle of the dog leg, if you will. They revamped it. I'm still waiting for iRacing to give the new update of the track being that way. But I've always said, Greg, I was always a fan of Phoenix whenever they used to have it as this design. But now as you see this angle, this is what is now the new start-finish line for real at the real Phoenix.
You know, when this configuration was under construction back in 2011, a lot of people were not too thrilled about it. And they said they didn't think it was going to work. But over the course of the, 8 years or so that we used this configuration from 2011 to I believe it was 2019, maybe 2018, that we saw the new current configuration for the first time, this track produced some of the best racing of the year consistently. Every year, one of the best races of the year was always at Phoenix. So I gotta say, whoever it was that came up with this idea for this configuration knocked it out of the park. And I was very excited when I found out that this was the configuration of Phoenix we were using here for this race, because I mean, there's multiple options here. You've also got the configuration before this on the iRacing server. The 2007 Phoenix is what it's known as on here, and that was the original Phoenix. That track was a lot of fun too, but man, yep. I love this one. I love this open dogleg Phoenix.
West, Garber, Brightsman, Raz, your top 5. Approaching lap number 75. We're on lap 73 now completed. And the West family, Justin, 1 and 2 again. Son trying to run down father for the championship, for the win here at Phoenix in turn number 3.
And whatever was struggling a bit before for Devin West, he's been able to, looks like, adjust it right back to where it was, if not a little bit quicker. I think that damage isn't impacting Dan West Jr. too much either, since it's on the back end rather than on the front end. Keep in mind that for some of these drivers, you hit the sides of these trucks damage-wise, Wesley, it can slow you down by at least 5-10 miles an hour. Right now, that may be what's helping a little bit Devin West to keep up here mark to mark.
Greg Rance, is the West family the litter so far? What do you think?
So far, these two have clearly been the class of the field, and they're kind of taking turns. Dan West Jr.'s led most of the race, yes, but we know Devin's got a lot of speed in that number 5 truck. Brightsman, I don't know if he has quite the short run speed in that number 55 in the 5, but we haven't really seen a terribly long run yet. I think we've seen a few 20 laps runs or so, but we haven't seen a true long run yet to see what that 46 has for him later in the race. But the way this race has gone so far, you almost have to say the only driver that has something for the West family right now would be that guy in 3rd, Casey Garber, unless we can get a caution here quickly, or even just get to pit road and Cole Raz can get that fast repair, because he has proven that he has a lot of speed in his truck as well. As you see Devin trying the outside through the dog leg time, taking a little bit of a higher run than his father. So right now the West family is just battling it out and settling it between themselves.
So far, 3 caution flags, only spin the first half half of this race, and we have not had green flag pit stops, none. Justin, we look like we're really settling ourselves for a green flag run. Do you think we'll see after halfway the green flag pit stops take place?
At this pace, as long as no one makes a major mistake, yes, not to jinx it. But the main thing is going to be just making sure overall you get into the pit lane proper, because it's still a fairly difficult one to where you still have to carry a lot of speed if you want to execute it properly. There's some who might go into turn 3 and take it too conservative. That can cost you up to 5 seconds. The drivers who know how to execute and push right against the old line, be able to dive it on in without looping it around inside the commitment cone and reach the pit speed at that mark as well, are the ones who are going to gain that extra few seconds. There's a good saying when it comes to pit stop entry under green flag conditions, Wesley. If you do it right, you can gain 2 seconds. You do it wrong, you can lose 2 seconds.
Coming up on 20 laps to halfway here in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200, the playoff finale here at Phoenix. And gentlemen, I got another question for you. Besides the drivers in blue that are fighting in the Championship 4, who is the drivers on the scoring pylon that you think we should keep an eye on that could have a shot to win the checkered flag tonight?
I think Casey Garber, who, while he slided around here a little bit and slid around last lap, I think you have to keep an eye on him, especially with the help on the box. We've mentioned Cole Raz as well with some speed. How about Dan Lowther as well, though, Gray? We've seen him be quick throughout the entire night so far in practice. He's running similar marks right now to the drivers inside your top 5.
He's been right there with them all day long. He's kind of just backed it down right now, not wanting to affect the championship battle right now. I'm going to mention another one here who has already been caught up and has fought back after being caught up to climb back in the 7th. I'm looking at James Vining, the Catman, in the 333. He has had to fight back into the top 10 after being caught up in an earlier incident. There he is right there. He's worked his way back up to 7th. I won't be too surprised to see him making some noise by the end of this race.
Caught up in that big wreck with Paulison, one of the championship contenders that we had happened earlier around lap 50. We are approaching halfway, and there is James Vining, the Catman, part of Da Vinci Racing. Well, that goes on. A 3-truck battle for the lead going on with West and West moving by lap traffic as well. Garber losing ground. Brightsman closes in on him for that spot, Justin, as they work their way off forward.
And Garber seems to be just losing the back end right now. Just look at how he's been hitting his marks, just trying to take a wider arc. That chews up the right front a little bit more. But on top of it, he just seems to be starting to bottom out a little bit on some of these corner entries in 3 and 4. And that just seems to be causing him to just kick out and slide out and just chew up the tires overall and make it very difficult on the throttle.
Working their way off turn 4, back full speed again. Dan West Jr. out in front, the pole truck. Devin West, the outside pole truck alongside father son, fighting for the championship as
Really begin pushing the envelope here if you're the 46 camp.
still a lot of racing left to go as we approach now 86 laps complete. There is Garber, the white 94, the black as well, and then you got that Till machine of the 46 of Sean Brightsman, the championship winner of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series. He won the race at Texas to advance to the championship 4, and then he pulled a miraculous upset in a caution-filled race to win the championship in the Cup Series. And right now, Justin, still a lot of racing left to go. We still got over a century grind and more to go on Phoenix. But Sean Brightsman staying in the catbird seat, if you will, of the top 5 all race long. Yeah, he's drifted in the top 10 a couple of times. But as we approach halfway, he's right within the cusp of the West family for 1 and 2.
He's right where he needs to be. The pace is right there. I think it all comes down to where the pit stops come in terms of when they come down the lane, how well they execute in said lane, and the short run for Sean Brightsman. We haven't seen him up towards the very tip of the field to see the comparison compared to the pole and clean space for the West Family Racing trucks. So I think that's going to be critical. For Paulison, though, it's not as easy because he's 2 to 3 tenths off a lap compared to the top drivers in the championship at the moment. He might need a few caution flags and some of that craziness for him to have a shot at the championship right now, because the pace just isn't cutting it to be able to be up there. He's not going to get there at this rate. If anything, if it stays green the rest of the way, Wesley, he might get lapped at his pace.
Greg Ranch, you want to elaborate more on that?
And Paulson right now in the 58, he's about half a lap back, 10 seconds actually, so actually about a third of a lap back. And right now, I think he's just trying to conserve the truck because he already had to use the fast repair, and he might just be like, okay, don't make any mistakes right now, see if we can catch a late caution to get ourselves back into this. That's a risky move though if that is what he's doing, because like Justin said, he's losing ground more and more every lap. It's up to almost 11 seconds between himself and the rest of the playoff drivers. He's in 8th right now. He's in trouble of going a lap down if this thing stays green much longer, like Justin said. So Paulson, remember I mentioned that go time for him might be a little bit past halfway. I think it's Paulson. It's time to go now.
Under 10 laps to go. Now make it 8 laps now before the halfway cross flags will be put out by Barney, the iRacing flagman, and we get ready for the second half of this event. It's still the West family 1 and 2. They are still the dominators. Garber, Brightsman, and Raz, your top 5. And again, we await green flag pit stops if they continue to stay in this cycle. The question I also asked Justin, would we see a wild card be thrown? Could we see a 2-tire stop? And we know Sean Brightsman is not afraid to pull that.
If there's a late race caution, absolutely. We've already seen for Joshua Beal where if he didn't jump the start, I was curious to see how it may have worked out. The main thing is going to be, I think Brightsman's going to try that if we have that situation. Let's say a 15-lap run where it can work realistically on a short run to decide it. But it looks like we have some alternate strategies starting to build up. Corey Walters elected to come down and pit and peel his way off the lead lap just now in the 9 truck. So we are in the window to where drivers can start dividing it up and try and splitting the race up equally to get to the end. It's just a matter of how many try and stretch it on the tank as far as they can. Drivers can go about another 25-ish laps or so.
Corey Walters in that Hooters number 9, giving up the 11th position when he came down to the pit lane. And I think he's out, guys. I think Walters is out.
He just climbed out of that 9 truck, calling it a season for Corey Walters. Made it to the final 8, but unfortunately comes up short in the quest for a championship. And it looks like his season's going to come to an end here on lap number 95 for Corey Walters.
A tough break for the number 9. Walters is out. Maybe that wasn't a scheduled green flag pit stop and some miss on truck number 9. But as we approach halfway, you still see the West and West family 1 and 2, Garber in 3rd. And I think we, got this part of the race now underway where everybody is kind of separated amongst each other. There's not really any exciting racing going on per se right now. And honestly, gentlemen, we needed this green flag run to try to tick laps away to get into the home stretch of this event.
And more so for many of the competitors to be able to feel out how their trucks are going to handle for these types of scenarios. Because here's the thing, you can't just build a truck and say, it's good for 20 laps, I'm good to go. Because guess what? There's an extra 0 on that total for 1. And 2, as many teams will tell you and many top setup builders, you build the truck for the full distance. Caution!
Wow.
Caution right at the halfway point.
Got Bill is involved. Got a couple other trucks it looks like with a problem. The 112. Joshua Beal bringing us under caution flag for the 4th time here at Phoenix. We're going to see now on the swag replay what happened as we approach halfway. And now this changes everything. Goes around, spins it on his own, off of turn 2. Great work by Raz and Lowther to miss him, Justin.
Yeah, it just got a little bit loose, and he reacted by essentially just flooring it around and going into the 360 to try and keep it, I guess, off the wall. But That now makes it a one-stopper to the end and simplifies the strategy where much of the field can just either go and try and go to 30 to go and hope for a caution flag, which may be the call now for drivers like Paulison, or try and split it at halfway at 50 to go.
And they are coming across the scoring loop on pit lane, and the cross flags are out. We are officially halfway now, 100 laps down, 100 laps to go, and the cavalry of trucks, Greg, on the pit lane. So much for green flag pit stops. We're back under yellow.
And the big benefactor here is going to be Cole Raz, because now he's got a chance to get that nose damage repaired, and he might have a brand new race truck. He's not taking the fast repair, guys. Cole Raz electing to not take the fast repair here in this race. I'm kind of surprised that Raz decided not to go with it here. I figured for sure this was the time to get that damage repaired, but he must not be as concerned about it as we are as he's rolling off.
Brightsman got around him. He got around Casey Garber. 3 drivers for the championship, 1, 2, and 3 off pit road, and part of Team LSR TV. West Jr., West the Sun, and now Sean Brightsman, Justin, 1, 2, and 3.
That's going to be really interesting. You'll see the pace of the 46 truck here now that he's got track position in front of the non-playoff drivers here. But to loop back towards the Cole Raz point there, Greg, do you want to risk having no fast repair if you get an incident in the final half of this race? I think that's the main thought process there. And it's also the chance where if he had the temperature issues, which were the possibility, that Raz could peel it off. So some various different thought process now for some of these drivers.
We mentioned that we would grab a word with him during our next caution flag just after halfway. Driver the number 24 truck, Jeff Stabnow. Jeff, your race ended early in what's been a roller coaster season for you. What's your take on today?
Yeah, it was unfortunate, man. I just didn't get the time to dial in the cue set before the race. We looped it around. I had to start back and just got caught up in 2 incidents. And it's too bad. I really thought I probably had one of the top 2 or 3 long-run trucks out there on the track tonight. So, but, you know, it is what it is. I messed up qualifying and ended up beating 2 engines.
It definitely has been a crazy ride for you, if you would say that, running for the championship for not only the Northwest Cup Series, but also this truck program, missing the cusp of running for the title. But, you know, as I look at your stats to close out the season, Jeff, you'll finish 9th overall, you know, 6 wins, 11 poles, 15 top 5s, 23 top 10s, still nothing to hold your head down about.
No, but I honestly feel like we should have had double those amount of wins. There was another 6 wins that we let get away from us this year. So next year we're just going to have to work a little bit harder and bring our A game out the whole season instead of just the first half.
Going to enjoy a nice little month off before we get ready for season 8 for the trucks. And are the Cup Series coming back for season 2?
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason that we wouldn't bring the Cup Series back. I mean, we did pull kind of a last-minute left turn to bring it in last year, but it was a huge success. You know, we had full fields this year, so I don't even think that's on the table, taking away the Cup Series right now.
Jeff, thank you. Green flag going back the air. West family 1 and 2. Sean Brightsman now to 3rd as they work their way to Justin off the back straightaway.
And a great launch once again for them once more as Brightsman able to hold on to 3rd for now. Cole Raz, though, with that damage, is still trying to fight hard in the top 5. It's been impressive to see him with that damage hold on for the time being, Greg. The thing is, how long can he keep on going?
Well, here's the thing. I've managed to get in communication with some guys on the 10 crew during that caution. They said they were beginning to overheat, like we talked about earlier. So what they did was they took some tape off to try to help get a little bit more airflow in and save the fast repair for later on in the race. So going back to what you had mentioned about trying to save the fast repair for later in the race, the crew recognized that, took some tape off to try to get a little bit more airflow going on the 10 truck. That's why they were able to save the fast repair this caution.
A little bit of an intense racing back there for a moment. Then they fan back out single file. Jeff, I'll throw you back in the mix as well here. What's your take of Team L? 1, 2, 3 on the track and 3 trucks out of 4 running for a championship, your colleagues and friends?
Yeah, Sean's searching for speed. He's not sure what his truck needs. I think Devin feels pretty good about his set, and I know Dan put in a ton of laps running field runs. Dan knows he's got his truck dialed in for the long run. I think Devin's still finding out what he's got there just a little bit. But, I talked to him there when they were coming to pit. He was pretty happy, didn't want any changes, and he seems to think he's got enough to run his dad down.
Well, we'll let you go, buddy. I guess right now you'll just be a cheerleader, rooting whoever is on to win the championship.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Sean Brightsman just had a huge bobble, guys. Sean Brightsman just lost three positions. Gets one of them back, but Brightsman off of turn number 4, a huge slide there.
Didn't need to make that mistake, Justin, but still a lot of racing left to go. He's got plenty of time to be able to try to capitalize from that hiccup.
Just pushed a little bit too hard, I think, on the gas. It's just the matter of how much do you heat up that rear tire. That's going to be the concern, I think, that he's going to have to be a bit more careful the next couple laps until the tire cools back down, as well as how much that tire may have worn out as a result of the slide. Oh, by the way, Stephen Paulison is up to 7th, just behind Dan Lowther here, so that's allowed Paulison to gain a little bit of ground now on the next championship competitors up front.
You got to think, Paulison, he's had a fast repair because he got caught up in that big wreck around lap 50, but he is literally being the dark horse, if you will, staying out of harm's way, doing what he needs to do, Greg, to try to find some way to be the underdog and win the championship here at Racing, and still over 90 laps to go at Phoenix.
Paulson knows it's time to go. Up 2 spots already from the restart, trying to get up, catch Dan Lowther, and then beginning to pick off the playoff drivers to try to get that championship here in the number 58. Got a lot of work to do, about 90 laps to do it now. He can do it, but he's going to have to start going right now.
Trying to close in on Dan Lowther in that number 63 Menards yellow truck in front of him as they work their way bonsai down below the apron, going back into turn number 3, and they'll work their way exiting off of turn number 4. We are going to go side by side so you do not miss a thing. Racing back underway, under 100 laps to go. The championship 4 now separated in the top 7, and the West family right now 1 and 2. Here at Phoenix. More coverage in a moment. We'll be side by side so you do not miss any of the action. We take a look now at your sawblade.com top 5. West, Garber, Raz, Brightsman. More from Phoenix on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
We're based out of West Monroe, custom t-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized, I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything, hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing. And if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink color. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees at yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com.
116 laps of 200 in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200, the championship finale. Round 34, the Northwest iRacing. Wesley Outland, Justin Prince, Greg Rentz, Charles Woon in the production chair. The final race to wrap up Season 7. And again, Jeff Stabnow just said it earlier, gentlemen. Season 8 in about a month or so. The Cup Series back for Season 2, Greg, Justin, and Season 8 for the trucks, where it all started. We're looking forward to it. It'll be here before we know it after this break when this race finale concludes tonight.
And what a run it's been so far for Dan West Jr. He has been dominant from the start of the race. He put in a ton of work, as talked about by Jeff Stabnow, and it's working out for obvious reasons. We're seeing that speed lead to what has been a dominant 1-2 for West Family Racing for just about the entire night so far, Wesley.
And Greg, as we still take a look at the Saw Blade 5, some big contenders there. And one of the things I have to say, Garber and Raz, not being a problem per se for the drivers fighting for the championship, but they're making their presence felt, knowing that maybe in the next year or the coming years of competition, they could be in the cusp of fighting for this championship title as well.
We've been talking about that ever since Cole Raz joined the series with him. He has shown speed from the get-go, a win in each the Cup Series and Truck Series at Michigan when he swept the week there earlier this season. But for Casey Garber, he has really found his stride the last couple of weeks here at the tail end of the season, both in the Truck Series and in the Cup Series. To go along with that, he's also had some pretty good runs in the Northwest Tour as of late, winning a race at Iowa, getting some good finishes this past weekend at Irwindale and Lucas Oil. Garber's really beginning to hit his stride in the Northwest scene as a whole here on iRacing, and I'm watching for him to make big gains next year.
West, Garber, Raz, Weitzman, Lowther, Paulison, Vining, Burke, Harris, your top 10. Ottenbacher, White, Ritters, those are trucks a lap down. From Gamble on back, they're on the pit lane. And then from Fletcher on back, they're out of the race. And now we see father and son continue to play the cat and mouse game of 1 and 2. Sean Brightsman now in 5th. He's got to get around Garber and Raz to make it a Team LSR TV 3-truck battle for the race win and the championship, Justin, as they cross the line.
At the very least, I think he can get to Raz the next 10, 15 laps or so. But it's going to be difficult to get by Garber once again. The thing when it comes to Phoenix on top of things is it's a rhythm track where it takes several laps to try and set up a pass. And on top of things, once you do that pass, it takes some time away from you for the next truck because it can cost you a couple tenths running side by side alone for a good half a racetrack. So it takes some time to get yourself reeled back in. Right now, Brightsman about a tenth of a second quicker than Cole Raz.
As this championship concludes for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series, the playoffs begin for the drivers of the S&B Cup Series presented by Appalachian Hauler Hunters. And the first round of 3 for a championship begins Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central for the Cup Series of the S&B Season 2 at Watkins Glen. It'll be a road course, Greg, so that will be exciting to watch right here on LSR TV. That will be the next broadcast that we have on Wednesday night.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. It's been a fun series there on the SNB side. 3-race playoff to determine it. I think we have a couple of guys who race in there watching tonight, so hello to them watching tonight's truck race here for the finale, getting ready for their race this Wednesday night. 3 races left for them, and it has been a great season. Can't wait to see how that one plays out. But speaking of seeing how it plays out, 75 laps to go now. Then the West family has broken away almost 2 seconds now over Garber. So Devin West lurking again on the inside in the 5. Can he get up around his father now? Or is he even really trying to get the lead? Or is he really just trying to measure up his father and see where he's stronger to make his move later?
That's the question, Justin Prince. Is Devin West playing possum? He's just waiting for the time to pounce and go.
I think so right now. And keep in mind, the undercut could be very powerful tonight if done right, with the fall off reaching 1.4 to 2 seconds for some of these trucks. So if done right, if Devin West just keeps him within range to where his father can't react, say if he comes down a lap or two earlier, it might be Devin West who's able to strategize his way up to the front. But that's the key thing, is being smart with that call if that comes into play. Switch for fourth position as well, I believe. Sean Brightsman just made the move on Cole Raz.
West and West 1 and 2. Garber, Brightsman. There is Brightsman finally getting around Cole Raz for that position. He'll move up now to fourth, but he's still got almost 3 seconds back to get into the cusp of fighting for the lead with the West family, and he has to get around Garber again as they go to the backstretch going to 3, Greg.
Brightsman trying to reel in Garber after he clears Cole Raz. Remember, Raz still has that damage on the nose, but they did take some tape off the nose on that last caution to try to get some more airflow on, as he was overheating, like we talked about, was a possibility with that damage. But as we're getting down now inside the 70 to go next time by, now do you think it's time for Raz to take the fast repair next time he's on pit road, knowing that next stop could be the money stop if we have a pretty long green flag run here? Is it now time to take the fast repair, or do you think he waits a little bit longer, banking on a late race caution?
To answer the question quickly, Greg, I think he should at this point, at that pit stop mark. The question's going to be, though, when does he come down? Because we talk about the potential of drivers going to 50. Here's the risk of that, Wesley, too, is if there's, say, a caution in the middle of the cycle, guess who gets pinned a lap down? The trucks who end up coming into pit. There's also the chance on the difference on tires that we've seen many times at many short tracks, too. Drivers get into the back of one and are trying to pass by the drivers on the older tires. So there's those risks that has to also be weighed out by these drivers right now.
And we've seen many stretches of where we have thought we were going to get green flag pit stops, and then all of a sudden we get a visit by the yellow flag to slow things down and cause caution pit stops. We gotta wonder now, as it looks like everybody is pretty much separated amongst themselves around the racetrack, if we will finally see green flag pit stops come down to play and be a scenario to the finish, to the outcome of the race and for the championship. Just under 75 laps to go, as again 70 laps remaining actually, and we are still seeing Sean Brightsman doing what he needs to do, staying out of trouble, racing smoothly, Greg, and by doing so, reeling in lap by lap Garber, his next truck to pass.
The problem for Brightsman right now is not the trying to reel in Garber or even Devin West. It's the fact that Dan West Jr. is beginning to open it up a little bit now over his son Devin. It was just under 7/10 of a second. Make it 8/10 of a second that time. Dan West Jr. has found his stride in that number 55 car. Really seems to be in a rhythm right now. Justin mentioned earlier, this is a rhythm racetrack, and once you get into a rhythm, you really are able to click laps away. Well, I think Dan West Jr. has done that in the 55, as he is beginning to really open it up here. Dan West Jr. showing why he's got a very strong race truck, and here he is going to lead another lap here. We'll see what it is this time at the line. Add another 10th, make it 9/10. Dan West Jr. fastest truck on the racetrack. That does not bode well for the rest of the field.
You see the new scoring ticker up on the top, trying to changing things around just a little bit. Still the same screen pylon on the bottom, on the upper left, just on the top screen, but it will still keep up with every position that everybody is in. As again, we still watch Dan West Jr. and Devin West 1 and 2 working their way off of turn 2, back straightaway. Bonsai to the inside. Below the apron is Dan West Jr. Justin, is that a good move to make? We see some drivers do it, but then we see other drivers stick to the racing groove per se.
I think it depends really on the preference of the setup and just overall what you prefer as a driver. Honestly, I like to take the dog leg, try and gain a little bit of time, but here's the thing, it also counters back for the turn itself. So I think overall totals, if you get what I mean, for in terms of the feel and the balance of it.
So a lot of racing here left to go as under 60 laps remaining. There's Dan Lowther. We have not seen a caution flag since at halfway. And gentlemen, we're about, what, less than 15 laps away for possibly green flag pit stops?
At the least, I would have to say and think right now, maybe at least even 7 laps to split it right up the middle. The main thing is going to be, though, drivers can stretch to about 30 laps to go, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Paulison stretch into that mark and hope for the caution flag.
Honestly, at this point, guys, if you're Paulison in the 58, you've got to be thinking, what do I have to do to get myself in that position? You know, Paulison's got to try something here. With what he's doing right now, not going to work out with how strong the West family is. Paulison has to be thinking right now with this group, what do we do to get ourselves in a position? He's got to try something. What's the move?
Dan Lowther just smacked the inside wall down the front stretch.
It cost him a spot.
No
he
caution,
hangs on to it.
No caution. Paulison right there around him as well.
I think he just lost the back end there, guys. Just turned it a little bit too much to the point where he clipped a little bit of the apron and also just too hard on the gas. And now that damage is going to slow him down significantly now with it where it's at, especially on the splitter as well. You can just see how much it's hurting him now down the straight.
And in doing so, Paulison was able to get around Lowther, but man, I gotta wonder if he kind of might have, got a little worried there for a second, got a little anxious when Lowther lost it in front of him, but nonetheless, he clears him and put Paulison now in 6th, Brightsman 4th, and West, father, son, 1 and 2, your top 4 now within the top 6 for the championship.
As I'm watching the 63 truck right now of Lowther, looks like the primary damage after the hit to the wall there on the inside is to the left front of the 63 car. The rear of the truck doesn't really look too bad right now. However, I'm concerned about the left front. The good news for Lowther, we're closing in on pit stops. He does still have that fast repair, so he's going to be able to get that fixed relatively quickly, but he's got to make sure he doesn't have something else happen and bring caution beforehand.
And you got to wonder, with all that damage on trucker 63, Justin, is he more prone or evident to possibly spin out or crash again?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. It's more so if you get a more harder hit, that chassis-wise would be where that risk comes into play. It's more so he's going to be down on speed the rest of the run until he comes down to pit if he has a fast repair available. So that's going to be the kicker there. It's to the point where he's already fallen back to James Viney 2 seconds, that difference. He's also 2/10 off the pace as a result.
Coming up on 51 laps to go. And here comes green flag pit stops. Devin West is in. He'll give up the number 2 position. And the 5 is on pit road. So is Sean Brightsman, Greg.
Here they come. Could this be the money stop? Playoff drivers coming down pit road. Here's Cole Raz, and you have to assume Raz is taking that fast repair now on the number 10. Took some tape off last time, but no guarantees you're going to get back down pit road again. This has to be fast repair time for the 10 truck with 50 to go.
Cole Raz is on the pit lane.
Yes, it is.
With a whole bunch of other drivers. Yes, he'll take that fast repair.
As does Lowther. So Raz and Lowther
Sean
both
Brightsman
taking fast repairs.
4 tires for Sean Brightsman. Not a tire stop, Justin.
And it shouldn't be a surprise, too, to see Dan West Jr. counter and come in. This is exactly what we talked about, where Devin West had the opportunity to potentially go for the undercut. Now Dan West Jr. is a bit on the back foot, could lose a little bit of time here in this pit stop sequence. And it also shouldn't be a surprise to see Paulison among the drivers who have not come down quite yet. One driver, I think, missed the pit lane as Paulison did come in. Devin West, I believe, actually smoked the tires and spun it out trying to battle with Brightsman.
That's big because now the championship contender of Devin West, pole sitter, one of the top drivers all day long. Now all of a sudden he's in trouble, and he is in big trouble. Let's take a look at the swag replay. Justin, you saw it.
Yeah, you can see tries to paint the yellow line, and right there just clips it a little bit with the rear tires, causing it to kick out. Just avoids significant damage to the truck. Believe he didn't get too much, maybe a bit to the sides, but that loses all of the time from that strategy call, and then some, to the point where he cycled just in front of Paulson, if anything.
But the question is, though, just could Devin West have flat spotted the tires?
Yes, potentially, or at least have the feeling of it to where that overheats the tires. He's going to be really feeling the effects of that, Wesley, in about 20 laps.
And not only that, we're going to keep an eye on the 94 of Casey Garber, understanding he might have some internet blinking issues.
Yeah, I was watching him. Connection issues were popping up about 3 or 4 laps ago, right around the time that incident happened with Devin West. Garber was having the starting of connection issues. Seems to have stabilized now, but the race leader, Garber, that's what took him out of the race last week at Texas. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again here as he's leading the way late, but he has yet to come down pit road. And Justin, he might be trying to stretch it out longer like we talked about earlier. If you're Garber right now and you're trying to stretch it as far as you can to try to get yourself more fresh tires for the finish, what lap do you pit if you're Garber? You're on 156 now.
Furthest he can go right now, if I'm looking at the totals correctly here, is about 25 laps to go or so. So that's the furthest I think he can try and push it. At this point, I think he's just hoping to pin everybody lap down, because here's the thing. He keeps on going. Say there's a caution flag. Right now, there'd be maybe 4 drivers on the lead lap. So even a 15-lap run could give him a massive advantage for the rest of the race if it goes green from that point on forward. So if he gets a timing caution, it's exactly what he's looking for. If he doesn't get the caution flag, he's going to at least fall 1 lap down.
We've seen this happen a couple of times in both the Trucks and Cup Series. Driver trying to bank on a long caution, even if he doesn't lead the race, because Dan West Jr. is trying to get his lap back right now. But even if he's not the race leader when that long green flag run comes to an end, he's able to get himself into position to pull it off. Remember Bruce Lee Weaver's Cup win at Michigan earlier this year? It was doing exactly what Garber's doing right now. Stretched it as long as he can, caught the caution, pinned most of the field a lap down, and was able to fight him off and get the win.
And that just shows you how strong Dan West Jr.'s truck really is here at Phoenix. Just went by Casey Garber to go back on the lead lap. Now 4 trucks on the lead lap. John Brightsman now trying to run them down. And you got to think, though, Justin, do you really race Garber and those guys hard, because you know that they're they're going to have to pit?
You don't race them hard. You just wait for the opportunity to pass them cleanly. And while it can be frustrating if they cost you some time, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, do you really want to get into a big squabble with somebody you know is on much older tires and is trying a different strat call? The counterpoint, too, is if you're the driver who's trying to stretch it, is you don't want to end up impeding the major progress of the drivers in the fresher tires and risk getting yourself as the caution flag. It's exactly what we talked about, where an incident could cause major trouble, near trouble. Next group of cars, Chris White just nearly got hit by Frank Harris, I believe.
But they'll hold it together. Here comes Ottenbacher. He'll down to the pit lane. All these trucks that we mentioned that were a lap down or more now going to start to cycle back around and get their lap. As we still see Burt, Ottenbacher, 89 on the pits. Under 40 laps though now here.
Ottenbacher took a fast repair there on this pit stop, so he's going to have a fresh truck for the finish of this race and season. One of the last trucks to come in was running in 5th position at the time of pit stop. He was in 3rd, excuse me. Just a couple trucks left on the lead lap that have yet to pit. The only 2 trucks that have yet to come down pit road now are Garber and Carl Burke, who we haven't really mentioned a whole lot here tonight. But guys, Burke's been in the top 10 virtually this entire race.
And Carl Burke has had a slur season. He kind of reminds me a lot, Justin, of Dan Lowther, where they have struggled and they've had problems and caught up in accidents, but they have redeemed themselves and have earned their right to be able to race with these drivers. And Carl Burke and Dan Lowther, drivers that I believe things go right next year. In next season, coming up after a month or so, we're going to see these guys possibly not only click off wins, but be in an opportunity to run for a championship.
I think so. Carl Burke is somebody I've seen across the service for many years, a long time fixture in various different campaigns as well, where he's somebody that can get the job done if you give him the right equipment. Tonight, he's been dealing with a bit of damage on the back end, and just as right now, I think hoping for that timely yellow just to get himself into a spot where it worked out in a couple cases nearly in the Cup Series side. The luck, I think, eventually will come towards his way again in 2021. It's the question of when it does. Just 2 top 5s and 7 top 10s this season in the trucks.
Coming up on 35 laps to go as there's Burke in the number 2 position, up 10 spots. He has not pitted, and neither has Casey Garber. But one thing we know for certain, Garber is now coming down the pit lane. They're gonna have to pit. Garber will come to the pits now. He'll give up the lead. Will Carl Burke come in, or will he stay out still and try to lead a couple of laps? And while that goes on, it will cycle back around to Dan West Jr. and Sean Brightsman, 1 and 2. And they will fight for the championship finale.
Burke does stay out, but he did not lead the lap. Garber was so far ahead that Garber crossed the line before Burke got there. And Burke, he's under pressure from Dan West Jr. right now. Burke, he's going to have to hurry if he wants to lead this lap. He's going to have to hold on because Dan West Jr. is going to take a charge here to the inside. I think West is going to get him here off of turn number 4 and get the lead back right now. Yes, he is. Carl Burke is not going to get to lead a lap here as Dan West Jr. charges by for the lead.
What a strong run in truck 55 at the LSR TV entry. Dan West Jr., his Chevrolet, strong, looking for the 12th win of the season. And not only that, Justin Prince, champion of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series here in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs.
Right now, Brightsman is a little bit quicker, yes, but the thing is, for West Jr., he's got such a big lead where if it stays green, as long as he doesn't make any major mistakes or fall off a cliff in terms of pace, all he has to do is keep the truck clean, stay out of trouble, and just hit his marks. That's going to be the key if he's going to just take this thing home. Still 32 laps. That's the big thing. That is still a long ways away. Think about it this way. That's about 15-20 minutes overall in time, and still has to let by some drivers like Chris White on fresher tires.
Yeah,
Greg, you said it perfectly. This is Dan's race to lose.
Yeah, Dan West Jr., he's going to have to just be patient right now and pick and choose his battles for the rest of this race. Carl Burke, a little bit quicker than him? Nah, not going to worry about it. But here's the thing. Brightsman has gotten around the 53 of Burke. 2.4 seconds left for Brightsman to get a run at West Jr. That's the number we're going to have to keep an eye on, is 2.4 seconds here with 31 laps to go. 2.1 seconds. Brightsman was 0.3 faster than that. Remember, though, West was in traffic that last lap. Brightsman, does he have enough time to get up there? At that rate, if he shaved 0.3 of a second off, yes, he would have enough time. The problem is West Jr. going to be able to pick the pace back up? Now he's back in clean air.
And gentlemen, here's something else to think about as we have 30 laps to go this time by at the line for Dan West Jr. We got trucks all over the racetrack. If Dan West gets mired in lap traffic, Sean Brightsman could use that to his advantage to close it on that interval, Justin.
Exactly. And if it depends really now on traffic navigation, where if Dan West Jr. struggles, then as you said, Brightsman can respond if he gets through quickly himself. And that's the key, because eventually once that traffic is passed by West Jr., Sean Brightsman would have to deal with the exact same type of traffic. So that's a factor you have to think about as a driver to be able to properly execute and take advantage of a situation such as that.
Guys, something happened to the 94 of Casey Garber coming off pit road.
Oh,
The
wow, look at
rear
the
of that
damage.
truck is destroyed on the 94 truck. Something happened coming off the pit road.
Wow. Here's a replay. Our production truck dead on it. Good work, Charles Wooten.
See if we can find it. Already got the damage there, so we're going to have to go back quite a bit of ways if we want to find this.
It'd be on his out lap in particular. Because keep in mind, one of the main things and one of the difficult parts when you're trying to get used to open setups is, for some, you have to go out on low tire pressures and very cold tires. So the best are able to adjust quickly to that in the first corner, take it a little bit lighter before they get up to heat. Then as with Garber, he went nearly full speed and immediately lost the back end.
Whoa!
Snapped loose on him. We stayed green, but that's going to be a lot of damage, and that could be the end of Garber's night unless we catch a caution late and he can catch a fast repair. Good news for him is he's still
Justin
on the
and
lead
Greg,
lap.
With his truck damaged like that, he has a lot more risk of spinning it out.
Does not want to be the caution for sure, but he does have the fast repair still in bank. There's Carl Burke, the final truck that needed to make his pit stop, coming down, so he will complete this cycle. It's West, Brightsman, Raz, your top three with that fresh race truck. Talking about Cole Raz in that number 10, but he is 6 seconds back now of these guys battling it out for the championship. And Brightsman and West pretty even right now, 2.3 seconds. So Brightsman's going to have to try to find something here with 25 to go.
Justin, only fitting to have the top 4 drivers in the top 5 fighting for the championship.
Oh, and a bit of trouble for Cole Raz. I believe he just got hit by fresher tires than John Ottenbacher. Carl Burke is now out of the race. And Cole Raz with significant damage on the rear end of the right side of the truck, because the last time by in turn 1, Ottenbacher closed up behind him. Remember, Ottenbacher stretched on 10, 15 lap fresher tires and just came up and rammed him in the braking zone.
Wow, watch this. On our swag replay, keep an eye on that.
Right
wow.
there.
Wow.
Ooh,
Just barely missed clipping the nose on the wall.
He barely missed it. Catches the outside wall too, but man,
yeah,
you couldn't have fit a piece of paper between the nose of that 10 truck and the wall.
I was going to say that by mere inches, Justin. If he would have hit that wall, there probably would have been a caution flag.
I'm just not sure what John Ottenbacher was thinking. They're just lined it up square in the braking marks, knowing he's on fresher tires. I believe, if anything, Cole Raz was starting to leave some space there, but now Raz, he's got significant damage again, and that cost him at least a few seconds to Sean Brightsman. All while Dan West Jr. continues to run forward, and as mentioned too, as we were showing that, Carl Burke elected to park his truck after trying the alternate strategy. Didn't get the caution he was looking for. He's out.
Under 25 laps to go. Dan West Jr. trying to win the championship. Sean Brightsman trying to run him down. There's the interval with a truck in front of him. Does he have enough time? That's the question. 21 remaining. Dan West Jr. back in turn 2.
First of all, when that could happen, but right now, for the most part, with everyone spread out, it'd have to come down as a major mistake on driver error, if there was that type of situation, because right now we're again reaching that mark for most of these drivers to where some of the back ends are going to kick out. You've pushed a little bit too hard. We've seen a couple drivers get a little bit loose here and there on some of the exits. We've seen drivers like Toby Ritters happen to wheel his car around, and truck rather, and try and hold on. But I think really you can't really predict it. That's just not how racing works, where it comes down really to the moments of that time where everyone else position-wise has been able to spread themselves out and get into their own rhythms to try and get to the finish.
Oh, and by the way, Sean Brightsman finally cleared that lap truck. He's now trying to run down Dan West Jr. for the lead. 1 and 2 for the championship. Laps winding down. 17 to go here at Phoenix. Greg, do you think Sean Brightsman doing everything he can right now? Do you think he's pushing the truck that he's ever done before?
Oh, he's pushing it as hard as he physically can right now. 2.6 seconds the gap last time by. Coming to 16 to go. We'll see what it is this time as they cross the line. Still 2.6. West just a hair faster. But notice on the scoring pylon right now, championship contenders, all 4 in the top 5 right now. Paulson has worked his way into 5th. Championship contenders 1, 2, 4, and 5. Cole Raz, the one playing spoiler of that right now, and he's under pressure from Devin West. We're going to have a battle for 3rd position. Devin knows he's got to get around Cole as soon as possible in case he can catch a caution late. He wants a shot at Sean and his dad. He has to get around Cole to do it.
And by the way, Justin, in addition to that, Stephen Paulison right behind Devin West, where he could try to make it these 4 trucks fighting for the 4 positions for the championship.
Yeah, and that's going to be critical, I think, to get up to him. It's still 4 seconds the gap at the moment for reference between West and Paulison at the moment. But the more Cole Raz holds up Devin West, the more likely it gets at least for Paulison to catch up to them. I think Cole Raz is right now a little bit on the aggravated side, obviously, after some of the contact. It isn't going to make it easy, obviously. He's fighting for his race, essentially. He's someone we've seen very fast in this series and as well as the Cup Series in Northwest competition.
So West stronger in 1, but two laps in a row has made a bobble coming off of turn number 2.
11 laps to go when they come to the line this time by, and you saw just a little glimpse of Paulison's truck starting to close in on these 2 trucks as they battle for 3rd down the straightaway. Closing in on the finish. Raz and West continue to battle for 3rd and 4th. That goes on the back straightaway.
Ooh, Devin got a big run there through the dogleg, Justin.
Oh, and he's getting a little impatient here, too. He's all over the back bumper. Thought about a bit of contact there with the checkup. I think if you're Devin West, gotta make sure you get the run off the corner because obviously Raz isn't going to make it easy. Try and build up the momentum for the dogleg. Try and cut underneath.
Best battle on the racetrack, gentlemen. That's what we're watching right now for 3rd.
Raz is just so strong on the exit of 2. I've been watching this battle very closely, and that's Raz's strong spot of the racetrack is turn 2. And unfortunately for Devin, that's where he needs to make his move, is corner exit of turn 2. He's trying to set it up going into turn number 1, but that is just Raz's strong point on the racetrack is right about here coming off of turn number 2. You see it again. Raz is just so much stronger than West at that part of the racetrack.
Under 10 laps to go, down to 9 remaining to go when they come to the stripe when Dan West Jr. crosses the line. Meanwhile, we continue to watch this battle for 3rd. Cole Raz, Devin West, 8 to go here at Phoenix for the season and the championship into turn 1.
And taking a little bit of an arc this time, trying to avoid that apron. You can tell Devin West is starting to get really agitated at this point and over aggressive on some of these moves here. Just keeps on clipping that apron on the exit of turn 2, trying to diamond it off. And that's what's killing him right now in that end of the racetrack.
And in addition to that,
right up there.
Yeah, in addition to that, he's got that lap truck also in front of him as well. That Raz and the other lap truck in front of Devin West. He's got to get by both of these trucks with 7 laps to go. Time is running out, Greg, here at Phoenix.
This might be his move right here. He's got
to the inside.
Nose in front. Raz is going to try to pinch him as low as he can, but I think West is going to get him this time. No, Raz shuts the door. Wow. Cole Raz able to defend it there. I thought that was the move that Devin needed right there.
And did not need to use a lap truck as a pick of Ritter's. Cross the line, 6 to go. Justin back to turn 1 in this battle for 3rd. Continues down the home stretch here.
Could have went a little bit deeper on the brakes if he wanted to keep it side by side. I think he wanted to play it safe with Ritter's just to make sure that the lap truck didn't cause an incident there. But that may have been one of the best opportunities West had. He may have 1, maybe 2 more shots here for the final 5 laps or so if he wants to try and make it a 1, 2, 3 for the LSR TV trucks.
Trying down to the inside. 5 laps to go now here at Phoenix. Getting a little impatient, if you will. A more aggressive driving, trying to clear him. And while that goes on, Father West is still out in front, leading over Sean Brightsman 1 and 2, Greg.
I think Devin used up his stuff right there. I think that was his chance a couple of laps ago as Raz is able to stretch it out a little bit. I think Devin used up his stuff too much there. Up front, no change. Dan West Jr. just a couple laps away from his first championship in the series.
And what a season it is being for the driver of Dan West Jr. He's been in the number 1 spot for the points season a lot this year. 11 wins in 6 poles. Make it 7 poles tonight. If he wins this race, it'll be 25 top 5s, 27 top 10s. What a season he has had. And what a way to cuss off. But you got to never count out that Cinderella story, the effort of Sean Brightsman and all that he could do. Try to be another history repeater to win not only in the Cup Series, but the Truck Series. He's going to miss it by 1 spot, Justin. 2 to go here now at Phoenix as the laps wind down.
But again, for Dan West Jr., the pace has been there all night. He put in the preparation. He put in the work to be this quick. 5 seconds the gap. And for him, what a dominating run. Minimal mistakes all night. Final lap.
The CRN 1 to go. Dan West Jr. hitting his marks for the final time. Greg Rance, he'll be a champion next time around.
Off of turn number 2 through the dogleg for the final time. 12 wins on the season. Absolutely dominating performance. Long overdue. He's coming to take the checkered and the championship.
Here he comes off of turn number 4. Season 7 champion of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series, Team LSR TV 55, Dan West Jr. wins here at Phoenix, and he's the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoffs champion as well. Sean Brightsman will settle for the number 2 spot in this race and for the championship. Cole Raz 3rd, Devin West 4th, Stephen Paulison in the top 5, and Justin, props to even these drivers that were in the championship 4 in the top 5. And as I stated, Justin said, you said, Greg, as well, Cole Raz, I believe next season could be one of these drivers that could fight for a championship as well as the Demolition Derby post race is underway.
What a campaign again for Dan West Jr.
Whoa!
And as they have some big air here, it was some big time performances. You mentioned the victories for West Family Racing. Just domination from them throughout the campaign. And in turn, it led to all of this. A well-deserved championship once again for Dan West Jr. to come away with the checkered.
Dan West Jr. will pick up the win for the final time in Season 7. We will take a look at the Sawblade.com unofficial results. So we'll just go by screen, guys. Dan West Jr. will pick up the win and the championship. Sean Brightsman, 2nd in the points, 2nd in the race. Cole Raz, boy, he's going to be somebody to deal with in the SRL Tour of the Southwest and in iRacing Northwest competition, 3rd. Devin West, hold your head up high, bud. He'll finish 4th. Stephen Paulison, surviving problems from the big wreck. He'll settle for 5th and 4th for the championship standings. Dan Lowther, 6th. Casey Garber, 7th. James Vining to come back from the big wreck. The Catman finishes strong on the year in 8th. John Ottenbacher, Frank Harris in the top 10.
Lovett Spunk goes to Chris White, 4 laps down at the end of this race with Toby Ritters, last driver on track, 5 laps down in 12th. Carl Burke, DNF's 26 laps down in 13th with Robert Gamble in 14th. Scott Hutchinson, Joshua Beal with Corey Walters, William Fletcher, Bryce Clark, Jeff Stabnow. Your top 20 tonight, Greg.
Coming home in 21st position was Stephen O'Hare. 3 wins on the season. Unfortunately, comes up short in the playoffs. Watch for him to make some noise next year as well. Ryan Maines, playoff driver in the round of 8, comes home 22nd. Eric Cheney hit the wall early in the 76th. Tyler Kim pulled it in just 13 laps in. Ray Fournier and Brock Denny did not take the green flag in tonight's finale.
So, Greg, I know you got a ways for now, bud, but before we let you go, what's your thoughts of the season and being a part of the broadcast team for the Northwest iRacing?
Man, what an unbelievable season. So much fun watching these guys every Thursday night. The open setups threw a wrinkle into the season for sure. We really got to see these guys flex their brains as well and get themselves to where they were showing not just their driving ability, but their setup ability as well, and showing, hey, I can set a truck up to my preference and get myself there. That's what I love about the truck series, the open setups. It's so much fun. Unbelievable racing all year long. Dominating season from Dan West Jr. 12 wins on the year. Sean Brightsman, of course, his charge through the playoffs in the second half. The clutch must win at Texas. Unbelievable. How about Devin West, the rookie? 4 wins on the year for him. No doubt he's going to be a threat for years and years to come in the Northwest Racing Series. And, of course, the old stalwarts of the series like Jeff Stab now going to be looking for a bounce back next year. John Ottenbacher got a win this season. He won at Daytona. So many drivers to build on for next year as well. You see Casey Garber, Cole Raz, drivers who made a lot of noise this season. Caden Anderson, he wasn't here tonight, but he always ran strong in the truck series. Watch for him next year. So much to look forward to for next season in the truck series. I'm looking forward to being a part of it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us each and every Thursday night, Monday night tonight for the championship, but thank you guys each and every Thursday for tuning in. Wesley, Justin, Charles in the truck, it's been a pleasure. Looking forward to the next one with you guys.
Couple of weeks off, we'll reset our batteries and get ready to go again. We'll be back in just a moment. Justin and myself will talk to the top 3. We'll talk to the champion, Dan West Jr., winner of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200 from Phoenix. For the final time of 2021 and the 2020 season, we prepare for post-race coverage from Phoenix for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series and the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200. Dan West Jr., winner of the race and the championship. We'll talk to them, but first we're going to grab third place and talk with the driver of Cole Raz in the number 21 machine, the number 10 truck tonight. Cole, your take of this race, and we all said several times, keep an eye on you. You could be a championship contender next year, racing with these guys for a title.
Yeah, I think we'll be pretty solid if we get enough races in this next season. We were definitely behind the curve. Dan West and Devin were fast all night long, and Sean, and we were picking up on adjustments there, just a little bit behind really going into it, but we picked it up there at the end, was able to come out with a podium, but all in all, it was a good season from when I joined and a lot of fun.
Of course, you had a lot of help along the way, and what was the preparation like for a race such as this and a series such as this compared to what you may do in various other series?
I feel like going into this series is a little bit more just with it being an open setup. The other series I run are already fixed, so it's just logging laps in those. But here it's just, fine-tune adjustments and really trying to find the edge on the competitors. And, it's small increments of time. And, once you get that small amount, it pays off big.
Paul, before we let you go, bud, your sponsors on that truck number 10.
Yes, sir. I thank LSR TV for what they do this whole season and all the series they cover. SPS, Wells Johnson, Brad Joy and Cornelius, and Joe Fare, Dustin Ash, and everyone else that helps me out in the real world. And time to go chase 30,000 at Irwindale.
And that's right. Keep an eye on him on the Southwest SRL Tour. He could be a contender to fight for the Reality Championship as well. That's the driver of Cole Raz. He will finish third here tonight at Phoenix virtually. Runner-up, the Northwest iRacing Cup Series champion. And the runner-up for the Truck Series title, Sean Brightsman in 46. Nothing to hold your head down about, buddy. Talk about your race, the season, and just coming one spot shy of trying to pull this history championship feat.
First off, big congrats to Dan West. He threw it down today and just put a waxing on the field. Overall, happy with the season. I didn't put as many laps in for this race as I probably should have, seeing how far Dan went ahead. But overall, it was great. We won some races, led some laps. We got to the championship race, and I'm definitely not upset and happy to take second in the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Championship. So
you mentioned some of the for tonight. Overall, when you think about your 2020-2021 for the Northwest Racing Series in terms of speed and the Cup side with the title there and coming up short there, how would you describe the feeling of knowing that it's been an astonishing year to the point where you also became the all-time winner in the history of the sanctioning body?
I mean, honestly, it's been probably one of the best seasons in both series, or best series seasons that I've been fortunate enough to be part of, and to race these competitors: Cole Raz, Dan West, Devin West, Dan Lowther, Casey Garver. I mean, Jeff Stabnow. I mean, the field is just getting very competitive. So getting a second in a race and second in a championship is just. It's not quite the cherry on top, but it's that whipped cream underneath.
Well, Sean, before we let you go, man, your sponsor's on the number 46, and we'll see you in about 5 weeks where you go for season 8.
Just got to thank Brights Boutique. Check us out at Etsy.com/Brights Boutique. Got to thank our sponsors, West Bay Napa Auto Parts, for sponsoring the playoffs, LSR TV for broadcasting all our series, the Northwest Racing Series, all the drivers that come out, Central Welding Supply, and then, of course, the Good Guys Group. Thank you guys for everything and all the help you guys have brought.
The 2020-21 Northwest iRacing Cup Series champion and the runner-up of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series, the number 46 of Sean Brightsman. And now to the driver that will have 12 wins to end the season, 7 poles. He won from the pole tonight, 25 top 5s and 27 top 10s. And add also champion, driver the number 55 for Team LSR TV, Dan West Jr. Dan, congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Wesley. I'm just blown away. All I can do is thank everyone who have supported me, whether or not they were battling me in this race and coaching me along the way. I appreciate that very much. I tend to get a little excited, push the truck a little bit too much, and they were coaching me. They were helping me in the pits, if you will, any adjustments. So I have an incredible team. I'd like to thank Jeff Stabnow for keeping an awesome truck under me all year. I'm just lack of words, man. I just blown away. I coming into this race, I worked hard, put a lot of laps in, but I couldn't have, projected the awesome race that it was to have my son behind me, pushing me the whole way, and looking back there and seeing Brightsman too. I mean, that's the thing is he didn't have the truck to run with us. I know he didn't. I know he works his ass off, but at the end of the day, he's just a wheel man, and he stayed in there the best he could. So I'm just really, really thankful for you guys and everybody that puts this on. It's an incredible series, awesome racers. And there's some upcoming racers that are going to make it really tough next year, like Cole Raz. He's clean, he's fast, he's fun. So it's an awesome series.
Of course, as well, finally breaking through for a title overall. You mentioned some of those emotions. What does it now feel like overall, knowing that after all this work, it finally breaks through the title, especially with what has been a successful past year or so with both the Cup Series and the Truck Series, where you were competitive both sides?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, what a relief. I went through a slump there. I feel like towards the end I was making mistakes, pit stops. It's speeding on pit road, putting me behind the 8-ball, and so just to the relief of just knowing that it's over and you accomplished that, right? And so. At the end of the day, I would have been happy I was just happy the LSR TV team was in there, and so whether it was Sean or Devin or I mean, at the end of the day, you're happy, right? But I believe, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic to finally pull this off.
Last but not least, Bud, your sponsors in being the champion, and now you're ready to defend the title. Come up in about 5 weeks from now for season 8.
West Bay Napa Auto Parts for putting this on. Pretty awesome auto parts store. Anybody that's around Shelton, really appreciate if you stop by there and give a shout out. Effective Web Solutions. They've been with Devin and I for years, and really shout out to them. Jeff, Sean, John, Devin. I really appreciate the team camaraderie that you guys have had. It's been pretty awesome. LSR TV for all you've done, and Northwest Racing Series. Thank you very much.
The 2020-21 champion in Season 8 for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series, the 55. And West Jr. We also want to acknowledge and mention Devin West, his son, and Stephen Paulison, those 4 drivers fighting for the championship down the home stretch. But again, when it's said and done, Dan West Jr. champion for the trucks, Sean Brightsman champion for the Cup Series. As the voice of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series, Justin, your final thoughts, and pleasure having you in the booth with me tonight as well.
Dominating performance from Dan West Jr. He showed this in the Cup side, where in several races, especially on long runs, he was one of the best drivers throughout that campaign. He carried that over throughout the entire campaign, obviously throughout the Truck Series season, with dominant runs each and every time out, the most wins of the season, very consistent. Just about every single race was a top 10 overall on his mark. Overall, he put in the work, and he showed it all night. He had a near perfect race, and even when things went towards the opposite way in a couple cases, the contact with West Junior Raz on that jump start with Beal, he still was able to quickly regather himself and quickly pull off and away. It was the type of night tonight for Dan West Jr. where everything went his direction for the most part, and he is the one who ends up being the well-deserved champion.
Very well said. And again, when it's all said and done, in about 5 or 6 weeks, they will come back for season number 8 for the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. And again, as Jeff Stabnow reiterated on earlier in the broadcast, season 2 returning for the Northwest iRacing Cup Series. Thank you again to West Bay Napa Auto Parts for being a proud sponsor of not only this event tonight, the West Bay Napa Auto Parts 200, but also for the playoffs. It has been an honor being the voice for my first season with the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. I want to thank the entire Northwest family for welcoming me in, being a East Coast guy from North Carolina, staying up many late nights as a pit reporter for the Cup Series and as lead announcer for the trucks. And I'm looking forward to it again very soon. And most of all, a privilege, pleasure, and honor to work with Greg Rentz, yourself, Justin Prince, and with our producer in the truck, Charles Wooten, for all of our LSR TV productions. One more thing, don't forget, by the way, understanding that Robert Gamble is the winner of the LSR TV Best of the Rest Championship as well. So props to number 54 of Robert Gamble winning that title. The next broadcast on LSR TV will be Wednesday night, the playoffs from Watkins Glen, round 1 with the S&B Cup Series presented by Appalachian Hauler Hunters. We go green flag at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central on Live Sim Racing. More details at Live Sim Racing LSR TV. LSRTV.com, LiveSimRacingTV.com, and at LSR TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I will now use Justin's words, as he always says. Now it's time to say goodbye. Farewell. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Please keep on praying for America, and congratulations, Sean Brightsman, Dan West Jr., champions of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series and Trucks. We'll see you soon in about a month from now.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.